So kind of elaborating, because I know I gotta let you go as soon as I gotta get out here in like 10 to 15 minutes myself. But remember like that thing I was asking you about earlier as far as the current state of the game and like you going around doing commentary and some of these things with stages. Where do you stand on Tekken 8 right now? Because me personally, as somebody that doesn't have the history that you have in it, I love this one so much more than Tekken 7. But I've heard like a lot of gripes. But I guess because I'm too busy trying to get better at it, I don't have those same gripes because I don't have the history. So where do you stand on that?
No, yeah, I mean, I think that in general, people who are like they came in the second half of Tekken 7 and Tekken 8's their game now, like they all like Tekken 8, right? For me, as someone who's been around like literally since Tekken 1, like I have a lot more gripes about this game, you know, and like so for me, it's not my favorite Tekken, but it's still a fun Tekken. And every Tekken for me has been fun. There's never been a Tekken that I stopped playing, right? Like in Tekken Tag 2, that game was super unpopular, but I was like the only guy streaming it for like 3 years, you know, until Tekken 7 came out. So that's just me. I'm just a Tekken fan. I'm gonna play and like every Tekken, even if it's not my favorite Tekken, right? So this game, it's got some issues. I'm just curious about where they take it. I just want to know where it's headed because they're like you can see in the player base, just on the feedback, right? Like it's kind of a divided community right now. And whenever I go to events, I ask people, you know, what do you think about Tekken 8? And a lot of people tell me it's fun, and it is. It's fun. But like as a competitive game at the highest level, the balance isn't quite there, right? There's still things that are working out. The heat system's kind of funny. The chip system's kind of funny. Like it's not there. And the thing is, historically, Tekken always has this issue in the first year. So it's like expected. So I'm just really curious what the second year is going to bring because it's a little scary. And part of the concern is that Tekken 7, as it was ending, when they started introducing like Leroy and all the DLC characters, like you saw this pattern of like, wait a second, what are they doing here? Like, this is a different approach to introducing characters that clearly broken. Like they should know better that this move is going to be busted for XYZ reason, right? And we didn't really see that. And then we saw Kunimitsu for so long and they didn't really change it. And we're like, why aren't you changing this, right? So it's almost like they haven't been listening to the community as much as they used to. And then Tekken 8 comes out, and they did change this game a lot from the launch, right? This game is very different than it was at the very beginning of the year or even during the CNT and CBT last year. So they are taking feedback, but they're still in their room somewhere, you know, some kind of master document that says this is what we want the game to be. And I feel like if that doesn't change, then the community is going to stay divided. So, you know, we'll see what they do with season 2.
What is the main like as somebody who kind of has like the pulse of what everybody is saying? What's the overall main division? Is it just newbies versus veterans and like people not wanting to adjust to change, or is it deeper than that?
No, it's not about people not wanting adjusting to change. It's people not liking the change. It's like they can adjust to it, but they still don't like it, right? Like they understand what they have to do, but it's not what Tekken used to be in a lot of ways. Like you still require defense in this game, right? So when people say casino 50-50, it is a casino 50-50, but defense will still help you through it, right? Except that defense will help you less than it used to, right?
Because
so
of the chip.
Defense exactly because of the chip, because of the heat engagers, right? Like so, for example, right? Say you have 15% health left, right? You have 15% health left. Your opponent activates heat, right? You basically have 1 pixel left. That 15% doesn't even count because all they can do is they can do 1 block string into a heat dash, and now you're almost dead. And now it's literally a 50-50 guess situation after that heat dash. And like for most people, they're like, that's not what Tekken used to be, but that's a lot of the game now. And a lot of terms come down to just that last bit. So how would they fix that? I don't know. That's up to them, right? It's their decision on how they want to take the game. So they obviously want the aggression, and the aggression is fine. And people were saying, you know, compared to Tekken 7, the end of the game was so slow. There was a bunch of timeouts. I didn't like it. You know, so I like the heat. It forces interactions. But if you're looking at the way Shadow just played a Tiger Uppercut, he had a bunch of timeouts there, right? So the players are going to adjust anyway, and they're going to try to force that to happen regardless. So you can try to make the game in this way, but all it's really doing is reducing the number of interactions, and like you're forcing people to just literally rock, paper, scissors, or not even rock, paper, scissors, just coin flips. You know, like is it low, is it mid? And Tekken historically has been more than that. Like a great example was in Tekken 7 when there was a patch that they made, I think it was Devil's In or Kazuya, I forget, but the Hell Sweep, and they made it a tracking low. And everyone's like, what the hell? What do you mean it's a tracking low? A Hell Sweep? That's insane. And then, you know, Michael Murray had that famous tweet where he was like, just if you know it's coming, just block. And people are like, dude, what? Like, that's not how it works. It's not a coin flip, right? You don't have to be standing or blocking low. That exists. We can already do that. But Tekken allowed you to also sidewalk it. So there's a big uproar online. They changed it within a week, right? So you had an extra option like you always had before. Tekken 8 has the same kind of issue where they're forcing more 50-50s and they're taking away more options to get those sidesteps in. So that's kind of where like the higher level players, they're like, not really all about it, you know? So like for a good example, I asked the top player, like, hey man, you've been around for like over a decade. I won't say his name because I don't want to, get him in trouble or anything. But like,
of course.
I was like, you've been around for forever. Like, what do you think about Tekken 8? He's like, I like it. It's a lot of fun. I was like, oh, okay. So what's your favorite Tekken? He's like, Tekken 6. I'm like, okay. It's like no one, everyone will say it's fun, but if you ask them what their favorite Tekken is, it's not this one. And so it's like, why is that? It could be the heat system. It could be the chip system. It could be the forced 50-50s. Power courses are better in this game. So there's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving parts, and I'm just waiting to see where the game ends up. Because like I'm not even talking about balance at this point. Like I expect them to tone down Dragunov and Nina and Fang. And we'll see where that ends up as well. But there's a lot for them to change, and they haven't really told us where they're headed yet.
Yeah, because I think without me having the historical context, there's some things about the game that like annoys me, but I think that's more so like, oh, I wish I would have won because this thing didn't happen. But as far as like, I fully get what you mean about like less interactions because of heat dash. Or like even when it comes to heat dash, now that's how I tend to end rounds in ranked. Oh, I got you in a situation where you're compromised, heat dash mid low or something like that. So I fully get that. But if I'm somebody who has extremely high level defense, I guess your gripe is kind of like, hey, I don't want to have to guess for my life. I want my skills to reward me in this scenario versus like having it just be pretty random is how you guys make it sound on the highest level.
Right. Like imagine like in that situation, say you and a Fang Wei player are both at 15% health, right? Except he still has his heat, like, that heat shoulder is coming into a heat dash and you can't do anything about it. Like you just have to hold it and then guess like that is your game plan now. And like, is that cool? Is that beneficial to Tekken? Like, I don't think so. And I think a lot of people don't think so. Like if you ask about that one instance, right? And like, I think when you look at that across the game, there's a lot of those kind of instances. And it's like, are they going to change all those or do they want those things in the game? Is that how they want Tekken 8 to be? And I think that's the question mark that they haven't answered. Yeah,
because it's almost a thing where it's like, if they're essentially saying that that's fine, then it's like, their argument would be leaning on the side of resource management throughout the round, so you can end up in this scenario. It's like having to draw 4 at the end of a Uno game or something like that, pretty much.
Yeah, and so I mean, like that's the thing. Like they're making a game. I think most people agree it's a fun game, but even aside from that, the community's been upset the last like 3 weeks. There's been like so many things to be upset about, right? Feels like. But there's just quality of life features that are still missing. Like for us right now, right? We came online to play each other. What do we have to do? We had to go to a fight lounge so we can add each other, so we can then go to a lobby and then add each other. You know what I mean? Like I was like, why can't we just go to a lobby and then invite each other? Like why is it so hard to still search for someone, 9 months into the game's life or whatever? It's little things like that are like, okay, we can work around it, but it's a real pain. Like especially if you're running a tournament like that. That's like it's the worst actually. It's part of the reason I stopped running. You have to add
everyone, huh? Because you have to add everybody
and you can't, because there's a limit.
Yeah.
Right? There's 110 Tekken fans you can have, and that's it. So if you're running a tournament, it's a pain. Of course, now they're adding the paid stage thing, which is new for Tekken. They weren't very clear about it, and they knew that it was going to cost money, that people weren't going to be happy about it, which is why they didn't really emphasize it during their Tekken Talk and everything. Because they had 2 chances. They had the Tekken Talk, and then they were at Red Bull Golden Letters, and they didn't emphasize that it was paid at either one, really. Like, they had it on the screen, but they didn't really emphasize it because they knew people were going to be upset. So it's a different situation. Like, I understand, development costs time and money, so you should get paid for that. But they had just also given us the Lydia character with the stage, right? And they show us a new stage, and Heihachi's coming. Like, so you just make the logical conclusion that the stage is coming. Yes, the character pass was a character pass, and it didn't say stages, but then they gave you the Lydia one, and that makes you confused about the next stage not being free. So there's a lot to be confused about, and if they're clearer about it, then fine. I don't really have an issue with it, but I think this one is like a real big point of confusion. And personally, like, Tekken is a game where you have to learn the distances on stages to like optimize your combos. So I'm not a fan of stages being paid at all. Like in this instance, I think that the better solution would be give one version of the stage for free, and then make like the better looking version the paid version, like a skin for the stage. You know what I mean? Like in this one, they released 2 skins essentially, right? Or like a day and night or something like that. I forget. I think there's 3 variants of it. I forget. But regardless, if you could give one of them for free, but then charge people for the one that looks slightly different, but then everyone can still practice on it, you know, it'd be fine. In this case, I think we're lucky because I think the dimensions are exactly like Arena. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't double checked it, but that's what I've heard from people. Then that's kind of okay, right? But still not optimal, I think.
Yeah, I fully get that because I was wondering the whole gripe on that because my position was like, okay, it seems like if you're gonna pay for something to make the game better, I'm not mad at it. But it seems that for you guys, it was more so about just the communication of it. Like it seemed intentionally shady, is what you're saying for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, well, because
like,
they
like
knew
a conscious decision to hide,
and they never have done that before, right? Like there's never been a stage that we had to pay for in Tekken history. So you would think that when they do finally charge one, they would make a big deal out of it. Like, hey, by the way, we're doing new stages. You know, we're putting a lot of effort and development into this. So, you know, these are gonna be paid DLC for you guys. You know, like they could have told us like that, and people would be like, oh, they're putting effort, they're trying. You know, they're doing all this work to add extra stages for the game. You know, so we have to pay for it. Like, great, you know. But there's also another crowd that are like, you know, I paid $100 for the DLC, the deluxe edition, ultimate edition, whatever it may be, and it doesn't include stuff. You know, like what the heck?
Yeah,
like you would think that includes everything. So it's kind of going against the grain of what people expect in general.
The one thing I will say though, like as somebody who is a primary NRS player and kind of how they've had a terrible launch with Mortal Kombat 1, especially like the microtransactions and stuff, which wasn't as big in Mortal Kombat 11. I remember seeing Harada address this directly, where he was pretty much saying like, "Hey, I'll take the brunt of this. Like, I'll take the blame for this, and it'll be different going forward." I think even in that context, as somebody who's like new to like this scene or this particular game, I feel like even that just makes me feel better because it's like somebody's putting their name on it and putting their stem on it to say, hey, this will be better in the future. Even that makes me feel 10 times better than NRS when they just go radio silent when they fuck up. So
how do you feel about Harada deleting that tweet?
I didn't know that he deleted it. So that's the worst part about me saying it to you.
That's why
I had
I'm asking
no clue.
you see?
Like, so wait, he like deleted that within like 24 hours or something?
Yeah.
Okay, well, based on
he got like 500,000 views, and everyone was like, "This is amazing! You know, thanks for the feedback, Harada." You know,
I commented on it myself. I think I retweeted it. Yeah. I didn't know that. So him deleting that, too. I think that would make me feel worse because that's like, wow.
Yeah,
that would make me feel like his hands are tied. That would make me feel like his hands are tied in some type of way.
So it's very weird, right? And it just means that there's so much conflict within the company, and you know, there's just so much drama. It's just not a good time to be a Tekken fan at the moment, unfortunately.
I had no clue he deleted it until you said that. I had no clue.
No, he did. No, yeah. I didn't know either. Like, you know, people telling me things because they're like, oh my God, did you see Harada deleted the tweet? I'm like, I don't know, bro. I just go to sleep and I wake up. You know, like
so much for what I said. Well, I mean, even with that, as much as it sucks for deletion, that's probably why we don't get communication from NRS in the first place. But I would just say as somebody who's watched both games, and maybe this could be like a new excitement as well. I think this may currently be the game that I play the most and I love the most, which is funny because it tilts me the most when I get mashed on and shit like that. But I really do love this game, and I think partially it's because it's like, from my position, I think that this game represents like the martial artist journey more than any other game I've ever played because of the training and like the discipline to get better and like really getting fucked up while you're trying to learn. So it's rewarding, but I can see that could also like frustrate people who don't want to grind to that extent.
Yeah, I mean, and the beauty of Tekken compared to most other fighting games is that it doesn't fully get reset. You know, when you go to a new iteration of it. So coming from Tekken 7 to Tekken 8, a lot of your knowledge carries over. You know, like you got your backdash. You know how to Korean backdash. You know how the sidestep works, the sidewalks. You know how to position yourself for the walls, wall combos. You know, the combo structure is a little bit different, but it's kind of similar. And then, of course, they just add the heat on top, you know? So, like, you play, like, Mortal Kombat, though, it's like, oh, yeah, Sub-Zero, he's got an ice ball, Scorpion's got a spear, but, like, all these strings are different, you know? Like, everything is, like, kind of a new thing, right? So, same thing with Street Fighter. Like, yeah, Ryu's got a Shoryuken and a Tatsu and a Fireball, but all his other links and combos are completely different now. So, they always change things up a lot in the 2D world per iteration, but Tekken kind of gives you a lot of stuff the same.
Yeah, it's like almost like a less is more approach. Yeah, it's definitely. Well, no, I really appreciate the games and the combo, bro. Like it's nice. It's really, really dope to see like insight from somebody who travels and like comments on this stuff as much as you do, and who used to compete, and now you're on the commentary side of the fence who has all this information. So I'm hoping that like my viewers enjoy it because I think that I have a large Mortal Kombat audience, and they like Tekken, but they don't love Tekken because it's the harder game. But that's what makes me like excited to play it. I kind of struggle to play Mortal Kombat 1 as of late. I just have trouble turning it on. You know what I'm saying? But
dude, I play MK1 as well, and you know when Chaos Reigns came out, I beat that story. I was like, that was a weird ending, and I was so hyped to play Cyrax and Noob, but then I just haven't booted it up still. Like I don't know what it is. Like I love Noob. Noob is my main from like Mortal Kombat 9, but yeah, it's like even though the combos are super duper cool and you know Embrace Chaos is super cool and everything, it's just like the game itself and like getting to matches and playing, it's just not as cool. Like does that game still? It still doesn't have practice mode that like lets you search for matches at the same time, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah, like that's so frustrating.
Today was I think I played it one time since Chaos Reigns came out. Like I haven't played the story yet, and I'm a Mortal Kombat streamer.
Yeah,
supposedly.
Yeah.
So
time, bro.
That shows you where I'm at. I'm gonna try to make time to do it this week. Like I plan to. I've been telling viewers I'll play it.
I mean, it's still a fun story. I enjoyed the story until the ending, but yeah.
Yeah, I keep hearing everybody say that. But no, man, I really appreciate the time, bro, in the games. I'm definitely going to have to get cooked up a little bit more to get some stuff down. But I am proud that I was able to get a win. Like, and like when Ninja just beat me 70-0, and it's like, bro, I can't steal one of these shits from you, like, at all. So get a chance
like
to
I
work
said,
on
bro,
some things and tighten up.
Ninja Killer, I think he's like maybe the best law in the world right now. Like Malgu and Double, they're like historically best, right? They have the best performance in tournaments, etc., around the world at the big events. But like they have more experience against the full roster of the game, right? I think that's where Ninja's probably lacking. But when I'm watching Ninja play with Law, I'm like, bro, that is an optimal ass way to use this character. So I'm always
he
impressed,
plays with so much style. I think that's the main thing. It's like you know how we have like certain combos we want to work on and maybe like use for like a cool video or a clip, but he plays like that all the time, and it's like, yo. Yep. How do you do that?
Like that?
It's like like watching a highlight reel nonstop. Like when I was watching him, there's a part of me that's like trying to win, but there's another part of me that's like amazed by the combos. Like I didn't even know you could link that.
No, yeah, it's pretty sick. Ninja's the best, dude.
Yeah, but no, I definitely appreciate it, Rip, man. We got to do it again sometime soon. I got to keep getting this dojo training from you, so I really enjoyed the games, man. I appreciate the time as well, bro.
For sure, man. GG's.
Have a great one, bro.
You too.
Peace.
Latest.